and conscience alike, both of which Montaigne points to as aspects of an educated human being. Now, the problem with each educational distinction that I have made tonight is that the side on which I have come down in considering the distinction, the side of cultivating learners' judgment and ability, is by its very nature inefficient. It takes time, and lots of it, to cultivate learners. Teaching to the test, which is directed precisely toward learnedness, is far more efficient than cultivating the activity it takes to help students see for themselves how something is working and why, rather than just that it is so. The cultivation of judgment, insofar as it requires moving beyond what is given as it is given, requires many examples, many ways of coming at the same information before the student's powers of judgment have enough to go on in making a determination. Exercising ability requires stops and starts, failures as well as successes, if excellence is to be achieved. One might even say that exercising ability is a task for a lifetime, while possessing knowledge can be accomplished once and for all given a well-developed memory. In any case, one can say with certainty that cultivating learners' judgment and ability is a process that not only cannot guarantee efficiency, it cannot even aspire to efficiency given the nature of human beings and the essence of education conceived as transformation. Thus, the importance of inefficiency is not limited to primary and secondary education. That is to say, it is not the human being's lack of full maturation that makes the process of education inefficient. For as subject matter becomes more complex, so too do the requirements placed upon the student to respond become more complex. Even the best prepared learners entering higher education with robust judgment and ability will find their matches in the best thinkers of the past and present and in the problems of the future. And meeting their matches is what is necessary if transformation is to take place. If higher education is to accomplish more than passing on the great mantle of learnedness with which it has been endowed, if it is to cultivate learners who can meet the unknown and not just produce the learned who carry with them what is already known, if it is to cultivate those whose judgment allows them to approach our changing world critically and reflectively, not just those whose memory has grasped the world as it has been and as it is, if it can help young people to mature in their abilities not just with subject matter as it is given, but with subject matter as it pertains to the larger world for which education prepares them, then it must resist the pressure exerted on it to justify itself in primarily economic terms. If we are bothered by the thought that primary education might be reduced to economic efficiency, we should be no less bothered that higher education might be so reduced. Education to be what it is at any level, in order for it to be what it is at any level, we must be prepared for inefficiency as part of the terrain. Indeed, we might even be required to defend that inefficiency if we are to take education in its transformative capacity seriously at all. Now, I began tonight's lecture by noting the hold that economic language has come to have with respect to the evaluation of higher education. And while we all know that that language can only be a metaphor, given that even those who use it know that human beings aren't really products and their purpose in life isn't really to fill a space in the marketplace, we also know how powerful metaphors can be in shaping the ends and expectations that we hold out for education. I have offered up my modest proposal, in fact, for an inefficient education largely in terms of the metaphors offered by Montaigne, which I have taken to approximate as closely as possible the essence of education as a process of transformation. Education as substance, nutrition and digestion. Education as exercise and discharge in the world. Education as expansion, as filling up. These are in contrast to other metaphors offered by Montaigne, which might just as well lay claim to the essence of education as a process of passing on knowledge. Education as ornamentation. Education as possession. Education as so much stuff furnishing the mind. Education as fuel filling up a vessel. In short, the language we choose to express our educational commitments matters. And so if I've accomplished nothing else tonight in making my modest proposal, I hope that at least I have encouraged each of us here to reflect on the real and consequential significance of reducing education to economic terms. The language we use to access and to assess something can come to shape and even drive it. And while short-term gains in education might be made in making it leaner and more focused on bang for the buck, the long-term effects would be disastrous. For economic efficiency comes not from mechanical cogs, but from human beings and the innovations they bring in thinking about and interacting with the world, economic and otherwise. These human beings, in order to be transformed, need time and a variety of approaches and subject matters if they are to become broad and deep learners and not just narrowly learned. They need opportunities to exercise their judgment as well as their memory if they are to become problem solvers and not just test takers. And they